I was emaciated and grinning like a maniac at the camera. I was in my mid-20s, and it was Tech Week for this big show that I had co-directed and co-produced. I had choreographed a big dance, and I was performing, and it was way too much. When I look at that photo of myself, it's like I can see ulcers wanting to form. And I remember intensely the insomnia I had, and this strange kind of high from operating full tilt on zero sleep. I couldn't eat. I had like anxiety through the roof. It wasn't sustainable. In the slump that happened after the show, I realized I couldn't live that way. I had to figure out some other path forward. So I decided to go to massage school. It felt very logical. I could still dance and choreograph, and then I'd have this thing that would kind of make me calm down. And that kind of worked. On the shelf in my massage room for years, I kept a book called Don't Push the River. Lovely book about Gestalt, but it was there just so I could look at that title again and again. Like, it's okay, slow down, slow down. And I got good at living that way, at not pushing the river. And maybe in some ways, it's possible I got too good at it. My inner procrastinator loved that idea, loved it. And she kind of was in charge. And mostly when it came to like big important things, like decisions, whether to have a child and like how to live life in a way that would happen. I knew that someday I wanted to have a kid. Someday I will be a mom. And I was really comfortable saying someday for like a long time. My own mom was over 40 when she had me, and I thought that was great. So I was relaxed about the whole thing. And I was surprised when I turned 39 and I could see 40. I panicked. Like now I have to do something. So I couldn't do online dating. It felt too much like an audition. So I decided to just swear men off completely. I figured that if I focused just on like loving myself very well, like being myself as fully as possible, like cultivating joy, either in that state I would meet somebody, because happiness is attractive, right? Or I would be alone but happy, and that would be okay too. So 9 months into this project, I was a month after turning 40, and I met someone wonderful. I had had wonderful relationships before, but this was different. We lived together within 6 months. He also wanted to have a kid someday. And we kept up the someday for a while. When I was 42, I got pregnant, luckily, but I lost the baby, and again got pregnant, and again lost the baby. And this taught me that I did actually, I wanted this. I also wanted to kick my inner procrastinator, but here I was, and very fortunate and grateful. I got pregnant again at 43, and this time it stuck. I loved being pregnant. I loved it. And now I wanted that to go on forever. I don't know, it was nice to carry the kid around with me all the time. So the due date came, and it went, and I felt okay with this. And then 3 days past due date, 4, 5, a week past the due date. They get nervous when you're like pushing 44 and it's late like this. So 8 days past the due date, the midwife just came to my apartment. She wasn't a house call midwife. She seemed to think something needed to be done. So she wanted to check on the baby, and during the checking, the water broke. She swore that she didn't mean to do that. It was She apologized, and I believed her, but I could see the relief on her face. Now things would move. So she very happily said, "Have a good night, just let me know when things are kicking." And we sat there looking at each other, my husband and I. Nothing was happening. So we decided to go out for Mexican food, and I don't know. It worked. The spice, I don't know if it was the spice or the fact that the water had broken, but labor started, and it was doing what it was supposed to do. There were contractions, and they got a little stronger and closer together, but then they got weaker and farther apart, and it just stopped. It was the middle of the night by now, and we texted Barbara, and I could see through the magic of my phone, I could feel her disappointment. In the morning, still nothing, so I was sent in for a sonogram, and everything looked fine. He just wasn't ready. The kid was chilling in there. He was comfy. But they sent me to the hospital immediately, and I got there, and I really felt like it was happening too fast. Like, a day and a half later, I wasn't feeling that so much. At some point, Barbara looked at me and said, "Are you trying to make it the slowest labor in history?" No. And at this point, I didn't know if it was night or day or what day. I came to my senses at some point, and I had two friends who were like tag team doulas. They'd been coming and going for days. They were both there. I had two other friends that I invited, like, come hang out while I labor. I kicked everyone out, and I let my husband and the midwife back in. And like 2 hours, I could do 2 hours more of like serious pushing. And then I remembered the book on my shelf, and I realized sometimes you have to push the river. Sometimes you have to. So after the C-section, they brought my baby to me, and they put him on my belly, and he did this thing. There's this amazing thing that kids can do. He crawled his little newborn self crawled his way up and latched on, and that's when I knew we would be okay. That if he could figure out that journey, I could figure things out, like how to be a mom. Still figuring it out. And I've been surprised that my largest challenge as a mother is patience. Like, I'm good at giving myself all the time and space I need. When it's somebody else, it's harder. And this much older, long ago version of myself comes back that wants to push, push, push. My son is a brilliant teacher of patience. He has like an exquisite sense of his own timing. When he was 15 months, he was not walking on his own yet. It looked like he could do it, and I wanted to but he just needed one hand at that point. He had graduated from the two. He needed one, and he was not going to let go. I was starting to wonder if it was time to worry. And then one night there was a Greek festival around the corner. We lived in Brooklyn, and there was music and dancing and really good food. We were on the dance floor holding his hands so he could dance, and there was a group of kids like running and playing and dancing and running and dancing, and my son's face just like lit up. And in that moment, we could see him decide, like, I want that. And the next day at the park, my husband took him out of the stroller, and he just walked. He like took off 2 city blocks, like walking with like total glee. It's been humbling to realize that my son knows better than I ever understood. He knows what it means not to push the river.